What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports back to you guys with another video, and I'm here with Miami Dolphins 2019 training camp preview. Going to be previewing the Miami Dolphins training camp for 2019, giving you guys some things and some players to watch for the Miami Dolphins when their training camp kicks off. So before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos, NFL content daily. So the Miami Dolphins. Um, a little bit of a quarterback controversy. Well, not even a little bit. They have a big quarterback battle going on. We got to talk about Josh Rosen versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. So far, from what I have heard, that Josh Rosen is the definite underdog in the battle so far. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been blowing the competition out the water at this point. So Josh Rosen is clearly the backup to Ryan Fitzpatrick, according to the articles and things I have read so far. So, I mean, Josh Rosen, last year for the Arizona Cardinals, didn't really have that good of a rookie season, mostly because he didn't really have a lot of talent around him to work with, and also he had the worst offensive line in all of football, and didn't have an offensive-minded coach that helped him out neither, and the offensive play calling wasn't that good as well. So, Josh Rosen got traded, got a new start with Miami, and a lot of people would think that Josh Rosen was going to be the starter, but so far, OTAs and minicamp, Ryan Fitzpatrick has been beating this dude. And from what I've heard, the competition isn't that close. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been doing an awesome job. And I also saw a video a few weeks that went viral. Ryan Fitzpatrick threw an incredible pass to Devontae Parker, and Devontae Parker made an incredible sideline grab. So I can see why. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, we got to talk about him a little bit as well. Ryan Fitzpatrick was Tampa the first couple of weeks. He was looking like the NFL MVP for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the NFL season in 2018. I mean, this dude was going off. So Fitzmagic was getting litty down there in Tampa, and then Jameis Winston came back, reclaimed the job. Then Jameis Winston got benched. Then Ryan Fitzpatrick went in. Then Ryan Fitzpatrick got benched again. So now with Miami, Ryan Fitzpatrick being the journeyman that he is, he's played on several NFL teams. This is an opportunity for him to start with Miami, and Josh Rosen might not even end up being the starting quarterback. So we definitely have to watch the quarterback competition throughout training camp. But so far, Ryan Fitzpatrick has the head up in the competition. Josh Rosen is playing from behind, so it's going to be interesting seeing how this quarterback battle shapes up. Is Ryan Fitzpatrick going to be able to keep his lead in the quarterback battle, or can Josh Rosen somehow find a way to come back and end up being the starting quarterback when week one comes around the NFL season? It's going to be really interesting. We'll get to see these guys throughout training camp battle it out, and then we get to see these guys in preseason as well. So the quarterback battle is really, really interesting. Next up, we got to talk about the wide receiver position. So the wide receiver position, they have Devontae Parker, who I'm expecting a solid year from, having a quarterback, and a Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I think is better than Ryan Tannehill. You got Kenny Stills there, who is still one of the better deep threats in the NFL. You got Bryce Butler. You have Isaiah Ford, who has been on the roster for a while now. So I think Isaiah Ford is going to be a guy who's going to be able to get the Miami Dolphins some production there at that wide receiver position. You got Albert Wilson, you got Jakeem Grant. So they have some playmakers at that wide receiver position. I think a lot of people are writing off this Miami Dolphins wide receiver core, but I think this wide receiving core isn't all that bad. Devontae Parker, this is basically a make or break year for him. His NFL career depends on how good he does this season. Kenny Stills is still pretty solid as well. And like I said earlier, I also like Isaiah Ford a lot. So the wide receiver position isn't all that bad. At halfback, you got Kenyon Drake there, who disappointed me because I was expecting a lot more out of Kenyon Drake. So was a lot of people, but the Miami Dolphins offensive line wasn't all that good last season. You got Kellen Ballage back there, who a lot of Miami Dolphins fans are really high on. A lot of Miami Dolphins fans, when I was doing my Miami Dolphins halfback position preview, they were talking about don't sleep on Kellen Ballage. So I'm not sleeping on Kellen Ballage anymore, Miami Dolphins fans. I'm taking your word for it. I think Kellen Ballage is pretty solid. You also got Myles Gaskins, was pretty solid when he was playing for the University of Washington. Undersized but very explosive. You got Kenneth Farrell, who was one of the best halfbacks in the Alliance of American Football before it ended up going down to business. It's going to be interesting to see if he can make the roster as well. Then you got Mark Walton, had a turbulent offseason, getting arrested several times during this offseason, got released by the Bengals and ended up getting picked up by the Miami Dolphins. So their halfback position is pretty interesting to watch throughout training camp. Going to be interesting to watch, is Kenyon Drake going to be the lead back, or is it going to be halfback by committee? Because I'm not sure. I don't really trust Kenyon Drake after what happened last season. So interesting to see how this halfback group shapes up as we progress through the Miami Dolphins training camp. Then we got to talk about the offensive line. So the offensive line, um, they got two positions on the offensive line that they have to address, and I think we are going to be seeing the position battle throughout training camp. The first position battle I think we have is at the center position. It's between Daniel Kilgore, Ryan Anderson, and Tony Adams. Now Ryan Kilgore wasn't that good last season, so this is why I think we could be seeing a position battle there at that center position. You got Ryan Anderson there, then you also got Tony Adams. So I think either all any three of those guys can end up being the starting center for the Miami Dolphins there. That was a big weak point of the offensive line last season. And the center position is really, really important at the NFL level because the center is basically the quarterback of the offensive line. So that center position is really, really big when it comes to maintaining a solid offensive line and having good chemistry because most of the best offensive lines in the NFL have a pretty good center. So center is a big thing to watch throughout the Miami Dolphins training camp. Then I think there's a little bit of competition at that right guard position as well between Jesse Davis and Kyle Fuller. Jesse Davis wasn't that good also. So that's a reason why I think it's a position battle there. So it's gonna be interesting to see who wins those two position battles at the offensive line, at the center and right guard position. Now I'm going to go to the defense side of the ball. The defense side of the ball, I'm pretty sold on the linebackers, and we already know the Miami Dolphins have a very solid secondary, very good secondary actually. So the thing that I'm going to be talking about on the defense side of the ball is the defensive line. So first, we got to talk about defensive tackle because defensive tackle is a big hole because they had Kendrick Norton had his arm amputated, so his career is in jeopardy basically. So he was a guy who was going to provide depth. I think he was going to be able to make the Miami Dolphins roster and provide them some depth there. So now they have to look at some guys who are behind Kendrick Norton at defensive tackle. So behind Devon guard chalk. You got Joey Mabu, you got Corey Thomas there. So it's gonna be interesting seeing which one of those guys is gonna end up being the guy who can be that guy who can give the Dolphins some depth there at that defensive tackle position, replacing Kendrick Norton. So then we got Jonathan Woodshard. You also got Christian Wilkins there, who they drafted in the first round of this year's NFL draft. Defensive tackle was the big hole for the Miami Dolphins last season because they were never able to find a guy who could replace Ndamukong Suh when it came to stopping the run. And that's basically why they weren't really that good stopping the run, was because they never really got a guy who could clog up those gaps and take up space and affect the running game. So now you have a guy like Christian Wilkins who is very big, very athletic. I think he's going to help improve this Miami Dolphins defensive line by a lot. And also, you got the guys I mentioned. You got Jonathan there. You got Charles Harris there. So I think this Miami Dolphins defensive line should be a lot better than what it was last season. And that's the biggest thing I'm going to be looking for during the Miami Dolphins training camp in 2019. So now the last thing I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about my players to watch that I'm going to be personally looking at. Kenneth Farrell, former AAF halfback, was one of the best halfbacks in the AAF. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing if he's going to be able to make the roster or not. Then you got second year tight end Mike Gesicki, who I thought was going to be in for a big rookie season. I thought he was going to have a Chris Herndon like season, but it didn't really pan out that well. So I think Mike Gesicki could end up taking a step up. I'm going to be watching him during training camp for the Miami Dolphins. Then we got quarterback Josh Rosen. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I spent 3 minutes talking about it. Josh Rosen is behind in this quarterback competition. So a lot of people thought Josh Rosen was going to be able to win this job, but it turns out that Ryan Fitzpatrick is making a competition out of it so far. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is the leader so far, and Josh Rosen is the guy who's going to be able to have to play catch up. So training camp is going to be very, very important for him if he wants to end up being the week one starter for the Miami Dolphins. So this training camp is going to be very pivotal for Josh Rosen, and also not just because he wants to be the starter, but where is he going to be in terms of his development as well. And then lastly, Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins, anytime you have a first round pick, I'm going to be looking forward to watching that guy throughout training camp and the articles and stuff that I'm going to read about him. So this is my Miami Dolphins 2019 training camp preview. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. What are some things that you guys are also going to be watching and looking for during the Miami Dolphins 2019 training camp? Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Make sure to check out these other videos as well. And thanks for watching.